we have the same structure, but monocots are more complex than dicots because again they have the one cotyledon, but they have something called an endosperm, which is this area right here. So same basic structure. There's a seed coat, there's a cotyledon, there's an embryo, but again they have the endosperm now. So they kind of adapted, and they're just like, what, instead of like having me have my cotyledons out in the air, because mind you, like if those cotyledons get damaged or messed up before like while they're out and the plant hasn't fully used up that nutrients, the plant's most likely out of luck because they need that initial nutrients to get started. So they're like, let me actually keep that underground for real. And they've now used they use the cotyledon as a gateway because the endosperm is still that nutrients kind of like the cotyledon, but it's more efficient. And pretty much what happens is it liquidizes, and then the cotyledon will kind of like transfer and also break down and then give nutrients to the embryo, and then the embryo kind of grows in the same process. But it's just like now this is all happening underground instead of them coming out like we had it with our last one, and then our with the dicots, and then they shrink and fall off. It just stays all on the ground. So this is kind of like the cycle in a sense. So it'll come out, and in a sense, kind of like the dicots kind of protected a little bit of the seedling. They have like a sheath, like a little grass sheath that kind of protects like those first true leaves. How we talk about the true leaves in the embryo, the true leaf that'll be in the embryo, kind of how it was in the dicots. And then so that grows, and then it grows up. It gets bigger. The sheath doesn't necessarily shrink, but it kind of grows with the plant. And then like later on, it'll be like roots coming out of it, or which are called stilt roots, and those are only pretty much there to like support plants. They don't really take up nutrients or minerals or water. They just support it. So like like when people kind of walk on stilts, same idea. So it goes from this again, it's getting that initial structure, breaking down the seed, getting the nutrients that they need from this, and then they getting liquidized, and then it transfers, and then now it's going up to the seedling with the true leaves, and it's feeding it to grow it, right? And then they start to get their roots situated so they can actually get the nutrients and water from the soil that they actually need, and then that's when they start to grow and sprout, and they start to photosynthesize. So that's kind of the whole cycle. Very, very similar to the dicots, but it's more complex, but it's just more efficient for them. So that's kind of our monocots. So that's kind of what they do. And also, if you guys know, coconuts are monocots too. So when you're eating like that, like that coconut water, like that liquid, that's from the endosperm. That's that broken down nutrients that they use to grow. So when you think about the endosperm, just think like liquid for real. But